there's quite a bit of planning that goes into when you want to set up the roof, because you need to take into consideration there's going to be different segments, because obviously buildings and houses, they come in different shapes and sizes, so you kind of have to kind of consider every option that might be needed when doing something like this. I don't want to ruin any of the pre-made modules that I have here though. Like, these are ready to go almost, these need to be unwrapped, but I don't want to risk damaging anything or making an error on one that I forget about. It's going to trip me up later down the line. So what I'll do is I'll just kind of separate. I know this is an interior one. I put it here for the sake of convenience, and in doing that I inconvenience myself. So I'm going to just bring this to join the interior stuff, and these exterior ones, I know I don't want to hurt these, so I'm going to bring them back a little bit, and I want to duplicate them. So these ones I'm going to use to build an outside shell of a building, and then I'm going to use that to judge where the roof, or how the roof is going to go. I know I'm going to need corner segments, I'm going to need straights, I'm going to need individual like two squares, and I'm going to need 4 squares. Don't necessarily need the 4, you can always just duplicate the 2 over to make it 4. It's really about just how you want to design it, but then there's going to be like windows that are built into this as well, so you kind of do need to consider a lot of different things. But to get started with this, I'm just going to I'm actually going to put these in a collection. I need to clean up this hierarchy as well, it's getting annoying at this point. For the moment though, I want to put these in a collection because I don't want them to go missing on me. To do that, I'll highlight them. I'm going to press M and make a new collection, and I'll just call this one assets. So I know that that's the ones that I'm keeping. So there's my assets folder with all those cubes in it. I'm going to, probably off camera, I'm going to just rename them because that's a nightmare to deal with. I'm just going to change that. So all of these that aren't in that assets folder now are the duplicates I have. But I don't want these getting in the way, so I'm just going to turn off that collection by clicking on this eye icon here. And it just leaves me now with these. So they won't get damaged or changed or anything. So I'm just going to work with these objects. And I'm quickly just going to block out a building here. I want to focus on the corner first, and then I'll worry about the straight assets or the straight walls and stuff. So I'll quickly just build something up here. Alright, so we have a corner built out here. I'm going to use that to be a guide, so I know how the roof segment, the corner roof segment, is going to go. So we have this little this corner modeled up. At the moment it's 3 segments wide. For the sake of keeping it neat, I'm going to make this 4. I will duplicate this corner piece 50 and just turn my snap on for here, and I'm going to drag it over, and I'll rotate this into place. So now I have 4 segments, and what I can do is I can use that then, set up a mirror modifier so I can get this. It's almost like an extrusion or an extension of a house of some sort. So we start small, and then from what we make on this, we can actually scale it up and use it to make a lot more intricate parts. So for the simplest way to kind of put a roof onto this now would be, I'll just bring in a cube, and I want to put it in the center of those 4. I'll move it up 1 so that the bottom is resting on the ground here, ground plane, and I'll press Q to get my quick favorites. Set all transforms. Did that actually, yeah, okay, so I should have done the set transforms before I brought it over. So I'll backspace on that, set it to the center again, and now I'll set all transforms, and that put my pivot point on the bottom, which is exactly where I want it. I also want to apply this this material to this Y cube as well. So I'll select the cube first, then select the object with the material I want, go to my material tab, and on this little pull down I will say copy material to selected. So that'll just keep it looking a little samey. And it's a bit much in depth. Or is it? No, it's probably not actually. Maybe for the design, I'll keep it as this for the moment. What I'll do is I'll move it into the center. And maybe actually turning wireframe on for this would actually help me a lot. I'm gonna move this up until it's on the top of the walls. Oh, I just want to look at that overhang here. That's probably the kind of overhang you'd expect to see on something like this. So it actually worked out perfect. What I will do is I will cut this in half, press Ctrl or divide it down the middle, and I will grab polygon and select one, or press Alt and select the ring around the cube, hold Shift and click on the other end, and I'll just remove those all together. So now with my pivot point here, I'll set up a mirror, go to modifiers, mirror, and that done the job for me. Now I want this to kind of go up into a point, into a triangle, and I will stretch out the base of it then. So I'll press Tab, go into edit mode, select my edges, and with my snap turned on, if I just move this to the side once, it'll snap that in the center, and I'll grab the bottom piece, and because it's mirrored, when I move this, it'll move to the far side. And now we should have a pretty uniform overhang that's going to go around this piece. Now, considering that overhang as well, we know that we want each of these roof segments to be the same width as the wall. So I will just remove these inside faces here. And maybe even, no, I need to keep that, or that overhang. For this I will just select both those edges. My mouse is not selecting properly. I think it's time for a new one. I'm going to grab these guys and I'm going to pull it back one snap, and that'll line me up then perfectly with this wall. Right, so with that done, we now just want to extrude another overhang for this section of the roof here. At this point we want to decide though, what depth do we want the roof piece? I think maybe that's a little small. So I'll grab the center edge and I'll move it up one more snap. And you can actually go, depending on obviously on the design, you can make it as big or small as you like. I think I'll go with the last. I'll go with that for the moment. And you can do the same setup on multiple size or multiple roof elements as well. You can even round it off as well, you know, if maybe even bevel. Of course, it won't work with a mirror modifier, but I'll get back to that once it's set. So with that, I'm going to grab polygon, and I'm going to select one edge, and I'm going to press Shift D to duplicate it. And I want to just grab the front face, or front edge, and I'm going to turn the snap off because I want to judge this by eye. This should have just a touch of an overhang on it as well. Maybe like that. Maybe a little more. Like that, say. And then we just want to give this a bit of thickness. Now, but because these are mirrored, the thickness won't... it'll kind of split in the middle on you. I suppose it's just best to show you what I mean by that. Because I separated actually this from the object with the mirror, it also inherited that same modifier, which is the mirror here. So what I mean by that now is if I turn this off, it gets rid of one side over here. Not you, yeah. So if I was to add a thickness onto this now, what would happen would be make it solidify, and it'll split in the middle here. If I turn it outwards, it's actually not splitting. Okay, I was wrong again. I need more practice clearly. So I'll take advantage of that, I think, and I'm going to just eyeball this again. I think I'll make it a bit thicker. Something about a sturdy looking roof I like in a design. Alright. Okay, that'll do. I'm going to keep those modifiers for the moment, or will I? I think I want this to kind of come down a little further actually. So what I'll do is I need to apply it and make a change to that. So I'm just going to apply it. If anything needs to be changed, what I'll do is I'll just make another one. The more you do it, the more practice you get, I guess. So I will apply solidify and then apply the mirror. And there's that problem I was talking about. Alright, it's not that big a problem, I guess. What I'm just going to do is remove this. I'll get the design I want on one side, and then I'll reapply mirror. So I'll move faces. I don't need this inside face because it's going to be joining. I'll remove that. And now we're going to use our orthographic view here. I'm just going to hold Alt and select that open edge. So I'll select around. I'll go into orthographic and I'm going to press S, X and 0 to straighten that up. Okay, I got a bit of a warp there as well, so I don't want to do it that way. What I might do is I'll see if share will work. Does the same. Alright. Okay, I'm just going to have to eyeball this, I think. I'm sure there's a better way for it, but my brain's going to retire today. I'll turn on X-ray. I want to select each of those vertices that's gone through the mesh, just the top ones. And I'm going to judge this by eye. I'm going to bring this in to the point where I think it's going to line up. If you wanted to be more precise about this, actually what you could do would be to duplicate this area of the roof. Press Shift D and I'm just going to move this up. And I'm going to just keep it so that those two edges are joining. Or they're not joining, but they're kind of overlapping each other. And I know then I have to move this guy along here. So that's going to keep it straight for me. And then I'll delete this fella after. But I'll do the same. I'll go select edge mode and I'm going to hold Alt, like that open edge. Go into front face, orthographic. And I'll take my vertices and I'm just going to select through the mesh. And I'll line this up to the corner like that. And that gives me a bit of a better chance then to come in and select a whole row of vertices there, and I'll press S, X and 0. And now I know that that's flush with the center line. So when I apply my mirror onto this, it'll line up perfectly without any splits, and I can just remove that guide. So now I want this edge, or this part here, to come down. Actually, I could use the guide as well, so I'm going to backtrack to that guide again. I want to keep it there, so when I select this, I'll select polygon, grab that open face there, and I'm going again go into front orthographic. I'm just going to pull this so that it comes down a little past the edge of the roof wall there. Maybe not that much, maybe a little back, something like that maybe. And now I want to set this to be straight. So what I could do would be, again, select this. I'll just do it this way. I'm going to select that. I'm going to bring this back so it lines up with the other piece, and it's almost touching that edge there. So I know that it's kind of straight in that sense. With that done, I'll select all those verts and I'll press S, X and 0 again, and that straightened me out. So now I know that guide has done its job. I'll select it, remove it, and I can now extrude this guy. I want to extrude it outwards along its normal, so I'll go to extrude region click and hold, and when this little pop-up comes up, I want to say extrude along normals. And now I'll just pull this out a touch. Alright, maybe I want to go a little further with this. Alright, so that's not looking too bad. What I do want, again, for the sake of design and decoration, I want to duplicate this one more time. Shift D and right click, and now P, separate by selection. And I'll just again repeat the same step I've done by adding just another touch of overhang here. And the same here, just try to keep it as uniform, I guess. Alright. So then with that, I'll add solidify again. And I'm getting a little weird bending here, so I'm going to turn on even thickness. Alright, happy with that. Now I just need to fix this up again from this point. So I'll just again grab this guy, duplicate him, Shift D, and I'm going to use him as a guide again. I want that slope to remain consistent there. I'll come into vertex selection and turn on X-ray, select. Oh, okay, I need to apply my solidify here. Now, grab these fellas. I'll just grab the top ones, and I'm just going to move this up to join that corner. Now I'll select everything, X and 0. And I'm going to zoom right in on this by scrolling my mouse wheel up. I'm going to bring it back a touch, and I'm going to select the top again. I notice I can see a little crack there, so I'm just going to bring this up to meet. And it actually needs to come out a bit again, so I'll select all those edges. The face there I don't need. Now hold Alt, select around those edges there. Go back into front orthographic, zoom right in, and again I'm just going to make sure these line up. So with those edges selected, I'm going to press G. I'm just going to move it along the x-axis, middle button to snap, and move it out so it lines up. Go back into vertex, select the top two, and move it to match up again. So that's pretty much as spot on as it's going to get, and you can use the merge function, the merge vertice function, to fix any tiny little gaps that will appear, and there probably will be gaps, but that's why the merge vertex is quite a nice tool to have. So with that done, I'm going to join both of these. I'll click that, or click one and press Shift, click another one, press Control J, and it'll join them as one object. Then with the pivot point centered there, I will apply my mirror again. And now we're getting our design across both sides there. I'll apply that quickly. So that's kind of one open segment there, and you can redesign this to fit. Say you had at the moment you got 3 segments or 4 segments wide there. You could do the same design over 8. It's all about just setting up your mirror perfectly, and then you're just stretching out your end, and then from that cube geometry that you manipulate there, you're just extracting you're extracting faces, and you're kind of doing all these little changes to it, but they all add up then. And what makes this pretty handy as well, because we have this connected here to the back, you know, it's flush in line with where that corner wall ends. So to fix this for the double, all we have to do is hold Alt, select our open edges. I won't need those faces actually, I'll get rid of them quick. Now I'll hold Alt. Didn't see you there. Alright, try that again. Hold Alt and click. Now on the one below, press Shift, Alt and click that. What happened there? Alt and click, and now Shift Alt and click. There you go. Right, with our snap turned on, press E to extrude, and I'm going to extrude this along the Y-axis so it snaps to that wall. And I forgot to bring this piece, but that's okay, I can grab that next. With that done, I'm going to go into Polygon. I'm going to press Alt and click on one edge, and now the corner down here as well, press Shift, Alt and click on that, and now it's going to separate this out. So now this is its own object as well, and we're just going to keep extruding this from this is the once this one here is done, pretty much everything is going to be extruded from that. But before we move on, I just want to grab this fella here as well, and I need to extrude him as well. So I'll select those edges. Who are you? Okay, don't know how that happened. I don't believe we need them though. Oh, there's still a mirror on here. Okay, of course, of course. Apply that. And now, try that again. Hold Alt and click. There we go. Now press E, extrude along Y. Come into Polygon. Hold Alt and click near a corner. E, separate by selection. And for the sake of keeping things together, I'm going to separate this out obviously when I'm doing the UV unwrapping for it. But I want to keep it as part of this roof, so I'm just going to join these together again. So I'll select this object first, the roof piece. Now I'll take the top, hold Shift, press Ctrl J and join all that up. Looks to be a weird shading issue going on there, but no, there's no split normals on it. That'll all be ironed later. I won't waste time worrying about that. What I need to do, although was kind of the focus of this whole part, was I want to show how to make a corner piece using the shear function. And for that, I'm going to need to duplicate some of this, give myself something to work with. Come on. I knew I should have joined them. I'll not beat about it though. I'm going to grab a simpler object for the moment. And I'll rotate this into place. Rotated 90 degrees here, minus 95, 90 degrees, okay. And I'm just going to duplicate this a couple times. I need to make a long run at this, so I'll probably give this one I'll give this 4 of its own. I won't need that actually, because I need to copy a corner. Bring him down. Rotate him into place. Consider getting a new mouse as well. This thing is definitely on its last legs. And now I'll copy this guy, bring him over, rotate him into place. 90 degrees. Now I'll snap him, and I'll give him three copies as well. So, right, so that's going to be the corner that I'm going to copy this around, and I'm going to copy this over and then shear this so that it's going at a 90-degree angle. So I'm going to select this guy, tab into edit mode and grab my edges. So again, it's going to hold Alt, click on one edge, hold Shift and go down through it, select an edge and extrude E, and then just pull this right along. You can go overboard here because we're going to cut this into place. So with all that done, grab my polygon and hold Alt and click, hold Shift, click again and Shift, click on the inside here and P, separate that. So now this is a guy ready to be cut as well, all his own piece. So to do this, we're going to what's the best way to go about it? I reckon just we'll select our edges first, because we're only sharing one end of it. Hold Alt, select each of these again, and now I'm going to go into the top down orthographic, and I'll grab the shear tool here, and I want to shear it in this direction. Okay, point. No, I need to go straight up to 1. Again, I'm looking up here. It tells me up here where my shear amount is, but also this post box will open up here, this post tab. And with that still selected, I'll grab my move tool and I'm going to press E and extrude this in the X-axis. And I'll give it more than it needs because I'm going to cut it back. I'll press S, X and 0, and that gives me a corner. So now all we need to do is move this into place. So I'll grab all of these polygons here. And I'm just going to, with snap on, I'm just going to pull it backwards towards the corner. So we have our overlap looking pretty consistent. Now we can see it's kind of cutting in on this side. So we would have needed, I think, 5 segments for that. So I'll pull it out a little. Maybe I'll just add in another segment here. So select all these, move it 2 bars to the left, and Shift D and duplicate him out. I'll grab this again and pull him back into place. Alright, so that worked out pretty well. And I gave it 5 here, so I need to duplicate another wall here. And now I'll just pull these edges back. So that they snap in line. with that wall. There you go. That's how corners are done. Again, depending on the style of the house, you might want that to be much wider, in which case you need more segments to kind of to make that work. It's kind of cramped there because these are only 4 wide by however long, you know. So that's the initial idea though. You're setting up your straights first, and then you use shear and you do a 90-degree cut on that, and then you just pull it back into place. But that's the initial way that those are done.